Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds good. Great. Okay, I'll make my screen a little bigger here. All right. Great. So just as an introduction to Sanskrit, a lot of times people wonder why they need to go into such depth with the Sanskrit, but I have a passion for the language. I think it's an absolutely beautiful language. And I feel that if you understand the script itself, it's going to make a big difference in how you are able to pronounce the language when you're teaching your poses or techniques, the pranayama, the asana, because this will make a lot more sense. And I had to, I don't know, I'll show you a picture after when I share the screen. I was fortunate to study with a Sanskrit scholar at the age of 22, and so that really helped implant the Sanskrit into my brain a lot easier than learning it later. And so I've continued to work with it and play with it, and I just think it's an amazing language. So we're in the manual on page 51. That's where it starts. And so I have a couple of books that are my favorite books. This is one, Sanskrit, Sacred Sanskrit Words by Lisa Lowitz and Rima Datta. And what I like about this particular book is, and I have lots of sticky notes in it, is when you look up a word, you can really see the script. So it's written nice and large. And each of these can be a reading in your class if you want. Like if you want to just have a nice reading at the end of the class to talk about the languages or the specific words that it goes to, like there's a write-up on mantra. And so if you're practicing to write, it's easy to check how the script should look. And another great book I like, and Terry might have touched on this already, The Language of Yoga by Nikolai Bachman. And what I like about this is it's not a very thick book, but it's super, super useful for a teacher. So one thing is that everything that's written in the book is in the back on 2 CDs. And so you can plug those in when you're driving or whatever, when you're doing a project that doesn't have to engage your mind too much, and just listen to the pronunciation throughout the whole book. And so he's got asanas all alphabetical with a picture of them and the script, as well as what it means. So for example, Vada Konasana, he breaks down Vada as bound, Kona as angle, and Asana as pose. And so it's really like you can get a lot out of this just by itself. And he goes into the different pranayama techniques and the words for the kriyas and the chakras, and so there's lots in here, the deities and the sages, the directions of movement like adho, like adho mukha, svanasana for downward facing dog, or supta, vajrasana, supine. And so he gives, there's a lot in this book that can be useful when you just want to know why the asana name is called what it's named, why that technique is what it is, or when it says it's a name of sage pose, who are those sages, right? And so it's just a useful book, especially because of the CDs in the back, so you can just listen as you go through it. So in this reading, or in this Sanskrit words that I have to pick, it says right on it where I opened the page, Devanagari. And so Devanagari is what this alphabet is that we are studying, the Devanagari alphabet. So Sanskrit is one of the original oldest languages. So we might even compare it a bit like Latin. It's a foundation language for a lot of those Eastern languages like Hindi and Punjabi and different ones like that. And it has different scripts. So there's a Tibetan script, which you often will see on Tibetan bells or tingskas. It looks a little bit different than this Devanagari script. So there's different scripts, and this is Devanagari. Deva is God, and the Nagari is Nagara is a city, so it literally means divine city, but it's considered to be the language of the gods. And so it is the most commonly used Sanskrit script. And a lot of the Hindi language is very, very similar to the Devanagari script. So there's big similarities in that. One thing I wanted to point out, which is great in this book, The Language of Yoga by Nikolai Bachman, just a couple of the differences in the Sanskrit versus Hindi. And so you'll possibly and probably recognize some of these things that occur. So in Sanskrit, almost all the letters are always pronounced. So, for example, the word asana, we say the whole word asana, but sometimes you might have heard it as like bhujangasan, and they end without the A. So instead of bhujangasana, it becomes bhujangasan. So it's shortened. So when it's bhujangasan, then that would be probably Hindi as opposed to Sanskrit, because Sanskrit would put that A on the end. It would pronounce the A on the end. If it's a long A, then Hindi will put a short A on the end. So we'll talk more about the long and the short A there. Another difference is that there is no F sound. So we have a PH in it, and that would be then aspirated like P, as opposed to an F. So whenever you see PH, it's never an F sound. And in the language, there is no W. It's written as a V. Don't know that you can see it there, but this is the V. And I've emailed you these charts, so, or Terry did, so you'll have the charts in front of you that you can refer to. But so it's Va, and it's kind of a soft, so it's almost like a VW combination. So Sarasvati. So if you're writing something out, in this book, I hope that's not my headset beeping. Yeah, I don't see one, but when we see something like Saraswati written, the goddess Saraswati written with a W, you won't find a W on the chart, so you're going to have to you use the V. I just want you to understand that. And so those are just some little bits of understanding there on the pronunciation. And another thing I wanted to say before I move into your manual is Sanskrit is considered really, really sacred and a vibration that impacts on us. And you haven't studied the chakras yet, am I right, Terry? No. So you'll get to that when you do. But in the chakras, they when you look at the diagrams of them, they have a specific number of petals per chakra. And on those petals, you can see one of the Sanskrit letters on each one. This is another one here where they're in black and white, so you can see it quite clearly, or blue and white. So you can actually see the Sanskrit script written onto the petals of the chakras. So there's 50 letters in the Sanskrit alphabet, and there's 50 petals in the chakras. And so all of the Sanskrit alphabet, all of those key sounds to make the words are considered like embedded into us because the chakras are part of our energy system. And so when we speak in Sanskrit or say a chant or a mantra, it's like it's vibrating within us. It's an energetic vibration. And so that to me is really, really exciting. It is a real beautiful vibratory language that is sacred. So we'll divert back here to some of the basic sounds. So in your manual on page 52, I just want to go through the basic sounds for you here. So A is always like asana, right? So you can just move to that assumption. A, whenever you see an A, it's an sound. Pranayama, asana. I is always an E sound, like Ida and Pingala, nadis. We see IDA, and from our English background, we'll often think of it as Ida, but it's Ida. So when you see the I, it's an E sound. U is always an U sound. So we don't make it a U sound, it's U. So Upanishad, right? Upavishta, it's not Upavishta, it's Upavishta. E is always like A. So in Canada, we get teased a lot for A. And so that's what the E sounds like. AI is always an I sound. I. PH is like patter, like it's a little bit aspirated or uphill. You can hear that H sound. And it's never an F. TH is always like tabby or warthog. It's never like the. So the Hatha Yoga Pradipaka, right? It's got that aspirated sound. CH, or sometimes it's just written as C, is always like the cha-cha, right? So chakra has a cha-cha sound. It's never like an SH or a K. So it's a chakra. Chaturanga. V is always like a soft V and W blended. There's no W in Sanskrit. So that deals with that part of it. And then I think what I'd like to do is just go over the alphabet. So I'm going to share my screen here. Oh, can you allow me to share my screen, Terry? It says the participants are disabled. There we go. Okay, so hang on a sec here. Pull this up there. So I have this chart on here, which will just make it a little bit easier to see this. So I better get that out of the way. There we go. So, and I'll get this out of the way here a bit so that we have a little more space. There we go. All right, so you should be able to see that on your, can you see my alphabet there on the screen?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, awesome, great. Too. Just, oh, better not make it big, so there we go. Okay, so we'll go through this little bit of alphabet here and get rid of that. It pops around so that you can get the sounds with it. So we'll start with the vowels. And one of the things that I've done on this chart, which I think is pretty cool, is, as I said, all of those chakras have the letters of the alphabet on them. So Terry and I had a lot of fun sorting out what letters belong, or putting it on the chart, what letters belong to the chakras. So on this vowels, you can see at the bottom of the page, right beside the word vowels, it says Vishuddha chakra. Mm-hmm. So all the vowels belong to the throat chakra. And so we'll go through all of these. As I said, there's 50 letters in the alphabet, and so, you know, almost double the number of letters that we have in our English alphabet. So there's a lot more sounds here. So if you want to just repeat after me. Is the first one. And then the second one is held twice as long. So that's what the line means over top of it. I. E. So kind of a long and a short E. Ooh. And now this one, when you've got that dot under, that tongue is going to curl up into the palate. And so it's like rolling the R's. Re. And then twice as long. Re. Not very easy for us who aren't, we don't have those little brain connections on making these sounds. And then the next one, you put an L on top of it as you take that tongue up into the L. Re. And then the next one beside it is twice as long. Re. Now that second one, L-R-I with the long I, is rarely used today. So usually when we go through the alphabet, we don't even say it anymore when we sing the alphabet song. And but it's on one of the chakras for the Vishuddhi. It's on the Vishuddhi chakra petal. It's on one of the petals there. So we don't leave it out even though it's rarely used today. And then going to the next line, A, I, O, ow. And then the M dot under is and then the H dot under is So it's like this aspirated sound. And I've circled there, sometimes the N dot under is just written as a dot over the line, like in the symbol Om. So I can, I won't turn it now, but when we write Om, there's a dot above on the Om. And so that's just the M sound of the Om symbol. And then the Visarga there has, it looks like a colon in our language, and that is representative the H dot under, because it's used quite common, so it's almost like a little shorthand there. Instead of having to write the H dot under in the Sanskrit script, it's just the colon, and that tells you, like Namaha. Right? So it gives that sound there. So that's the basic of the vowels there. So let's just go through them again, and I'll just flow all the way through, and you can just repeat after me. A, A, I, U, U, Re, Re, Lri, A, I, O, Ow, Ha. All right, great. Super. So that is covering the vowels here. And so if we go to the next page, so just bypass that next one beside that, but go to where the consonants are. This is the rest of our alphabet here. And so I have them on the wall behind me. They're just a little bit harder to see them all. That's why I wanted you to have your chart right there. So we'll go through these, but let's take a look first as where you can see on your charts. I have a bracket around the ka, the first ka sound, all the way to the ta, T-H-A, which is the second letter of the third row. And so all of those Sanskrit letters are on the Anahata chakra, or the heart chakra, right? And if you printed it in color, you would be able to see the color on it. If you printed it in black and white, you won't necessarily see it, but you'll see the brackets. And then from the da, this one here, all the way to the P-H-A, pa, on mine it's on the second chart. That is for the Manipura chakra. So Manipura chakra is just the solar plexus area below the heart. That's where your personality resides and where we store our power. It's our power center. And then moving on to the next section, ba. So all the way on the first row of your handout, ba to la. Then that is Svadhisthana chakra, which is your sacropelvic region. Those letters are on the Svadhisthana chakra. Yeah, somewhere. Anyway, doesn't matter. And then from Va to Sa, it's Muladhara. So this is Va, Sha, Sha, Sa. Those four are on the Muladhara chakra. I don't know if you can, do you still see me as well as the chart when I do this? Yes. Can you see the chakra? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. All right. So there's 4 petals on the Muladhara. And then the last one for Ajna chakra is Ha and Ksha. So Ha is quite a fancy little letter there. And then Ksha is actually a special character. It's on the Ajna chakra. That on here in my charts, maybe not. Yeah, there it is. So it has 2 petals there, which really are representing Ida and Pingala, the left and the right side. And Ksha is a special character that, it's a beautiful word actually, it means patience. Kshama is patience. So I think it's quite suited for there. So I just think it's kind of interesting to know when they say that the Devanagari script, every one of these letters of the alphabet is actually on the petals of the chakras, and so which ones. And so I took the time to go through the alphabet. And so on my page, your page 54, I actually went through and circled them in color. I could have highlighted them all in color just to show which ones belong to which chakra. But from the chart that you have there now that you've printed out, you would be able to do that.
Muggs, do you have a picture of that particular chart you just held up?
Well, it's on page 54 of the manual.
No, I'm just saying of it all colored in with the proper colors of the chakras by chance. I have mine done, and I did it all in pencil because I did not have colored pencils at the time, apparently.
Well, I can actually just take a picture and send it.
That'd be great, and then I can send it on to Jocelyn and Anne, or you can throw it out on either or. It was really helpful to me to, and I did it in the 300. I think it's in the 300. Maybe that's where I did have it.
That's probably where you did it, yeah? Mm-hmm.
I'll look at mine and see. I can even do that. But it's really helpful to realize where these letters are with the chakra petals and where they come from. And when you break them up into colors like this, it really makes sense.
It really does. It really does. So I'm going to make a note to myself to make sure that I do that. So send picture of page 54. Okay, great. Now, and the other thing on this page 54, if you'll notice at the very, very bottom, especially on mine that's colored, there's 3 of them that are not part of the rest of them, the the na with the dot under, and the ja. And all those is alternative ways of writing those letters. Okay, so they are part of the alphabet, but it's a different way of writing them. So some variations have been created that different scripts use, and so I just wanted to point that out to you, that it's not, those are additional letters. They already are in there with a different script used there. So that would help make sense. Okay,
I found mine, Muggs, and took pictures, so don't worry about it. You're good. I sent it out to the girls so that they've got it.
Awesome, that's so great. Then that's done, and we don't have to think
about it. I don't want you to have to do any more work.
Okay, so we can go through then these consonants here so that we can become familiar with them. So you can repeat after me, and I'll just first point out, so where, like, you can see again there's repetition. So there's a ka, K-A, and then there's K-H-A, so that's ka. It's aspirated. These are subtle sounds that we don't really use in our language so much. But, so ka, ka, ka. Okay, and then ga, ga. And then we have the na with the dot above it. So if you say ink, notice how your tongue goes up. Ink. Yeah. So it's like putting your tongue to the top. Na. 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 Okay? Yeah. And then the second row is cha. 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 Ja. 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 And then I forget what this accent is. It's a little curly line, and that's like nya, like canyon. Nya. Nya. Okay. Nya, 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 nya. So when you see that, then you know that you put that nya sound on it. Okay, then the next row, the T with the dot under. When the dot is under, then your tongue curls up like it was in the vowels. When it was in the vowels, that ri, ri. So you put your tongue into the palate there and go ta. 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 And then ta,
ta,
da,
da,
da.
da,
And then na.
na.
So in every one of those, that tongue is curled up into the palate there. And then the next row is really how we say them in English. Ta,
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 da,
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 and na.
na.
So you can feel the placement of your tongue is like right up on the roof of the mouth behind your teeth. That's where we are normally saying these, whereas the row before, the tongue was curling up into that upper palate there. And then pa,
Pa,
pa.
pa.
Great. So that's those ones. Now we'll move to the next page with you. Ba,
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 ba.
ma,
Ma,
ya,
ya,
ra,
ra,
la,
la,
va.
va.
And now we get into the 3 S's. So this is why I say make sure when you're talking about chakras that you put that CH sound, not an S sound, not like chakras, because we already have 3 S's to deal with. So if it's a C, even if there's no H behind it, because sometimes you'll see chakra written C-A-K-R-A, that means a CH sound. And as we move to the S's here, then this is where we get into the additional sounds. So the first S has the accent over it, and that tells you immediately it's an SH sound in related to our English language. And the second one with the dot under is also an SH sound. So they're both an SH sound, but there's a subtle difference between the two of them. So the first one is a little further back in the mouth. So if you said pet shop, like a pet store, pet shop, you can feel the tongue back there, pet shop. It's more back for that SH, pet shop. So when you're going to say that one, it's take the tongue back. It's almost like I feel it making it the sound with the sides of my teeth there. Whereas the S dot under is the tongue is a little more forward, like Sean, pet shop.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's more forward. And then the last one is just like Sally, right, or Susie. It's a regular S.
Okay.
So if you see either one of those accents, the first one or the dot under, they mean an SH sound, and that's good enough for us. We're definitely not, even as much as I try, I would be laughed at if I was trying to speak Sanskrit to a scholar, but I can shed a tiny bit of light on this for you anyway. So both of the ones, the first ones with the accent, are indicating an SH sound, and then without it, you know, it's just a regular Sally kind of sound. And then the last row is ha and ksha. Ha and ksha. So let's just go through the whole alphabet again, and I'll say it and then you can repeat it after me. So a, e, u, re, a, I, o, ow, ah. Ga,
Ga.
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 Na,
Na.
cha,
Cha.
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 Ja,
Ja.
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 Nya.
Nya.
Ja.
Now the tongue goes up into the palate. Ta,
Ta.
ta,
Ta.
da,
Da.
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 Na,
Na.
Na.
ta,
Ta.
Ta.
ta,
Ta.
Ta.
da,
Da.
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 Ta.
Na,
Na.
Na.
pa,
Pa.
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 Ba,
Ba.
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 Ma,
Ma.
Ma.
ya,
Ya.
Ya.
ra,
Ra.
la,
La.
va,
Va.
Ma.
sha,
Sha.
sha,
Sha.
sa,
Sa.
Sa.
ha,
Ha.
Ha.
and ksha.
Sha.
Now, ksha is a special character. It's not usually said as you sing the alphabet song, but I put it there because it's on one of the chakra petals. So I'm just going to sing the alphabet song for you. So it's like R, A, B, C, D, and
Yeah.
I, U, Re, Re, A, I, O, Ka, Ga, Nya, Cha, Nya, Ta, Na, Ta, Na, Pa, Ma, Ya, La, Sha, Sa, Ha. Oh, cat wants out.
The cat did not like your Sanskrit alphabet song.
You woke her up. So you'll notice in that the second LRI, second LR long I, was not said in the alphabet song. And this alphabet song is in this book, The Language of Yoga, on, I believe, on the second CD. Yeah, on the second CD, the very last cut. So you can practice saying your alphabet with that. So, any questions so far?
No?
A lot of this will start making more sense to you guys as we get into talking more about the asana practice and starting to read and figure this out. So
Exactly. So I'm just going to go back to the second chart of consonants that starts with ba on there, because I want to point out some very lovely things on it that I think are quite cool. So I just want to get my chart. So if you look at the la, L-A, and then remember I said the dot over top of the line. So if we had over top of the line on the la, and you can see this on the Muladhara chakra, if you look carefully, the letter la is written behind the red triangle with a yellow dot over top of it. So that's lam. So L-A-M, lam, is the mantra for your root chakra. Okay, lam. So the dot over brings the M into it. And then let's see if I've got Svadhisthana handy. Have her here for 4. There, Svadhisthana. You can see in it, if you look carefully, whoops, I gotta figure out where I am, the va. And then it has a dot over. So it's written pretty lightly, but vam is for Svadhisthana chakra. So we're taking these actual sacred letters right out of the alphabet, and they're called bija sounds or seed sounds. So these are bija or seed sounds. Vam is the bija mantra for Svadhisthana chakra. And then we have Manipura. Manipura chakra is the Ra, Ram, and you can see the dot right up top. You made a little circle. So that turns the Ra into Ram. So Ram is the bija mantra for Manipura chakra. And then going to Anahata, it's Yum. So that's the YA and then the dot over top. You can see quite clearly on there, Yum. So the M is from the dot over top. And then the Shuddhi chakra, you can see the Ha, the HA, and it becomes Hum. Hum, and there's a dot over top that makes it a hum. So hum is a very sacred bija mantra. We have it in the So Hum, Aham Brahmasmi. So it's found a lot, but it happens to be the bija mantra for the throat. And then the Ajna chakra, there you can see it's got the dot up top, and it's got the little archway. I don't know if you can see it very well there, but that's like the Om symbol starting to be there. And so it's the A and the U and the M form the Om. So Om is the sound for the third eye, the Ajna chakra. And then for Sahasrara, the crown, there isn't any sound. It's the resounding silence after the Om. So when you chant your Om sound, and several times over, or like Dr. Ananda is doing the Brahmari with Om, the humming sound, every morning and every evening. But you can do Om and say it over and over, and it's this beautiful inner quiet that everything has become calm. After Brahmari breath is very calming, and so just doing the humming breath, that's that dot over sound, and then afterwards it's a perfect time for meditating. So after chanting anything with the Sanskrit, it's perfect for meditating. It clears all the clutter out of our minds. And so there's considered, I think in the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about the 3 sounds of Om, the A, the U, and the M, and we'll look at that shortly. But I think in the Upanishads, it talks about the 4 sounds of Om, and the 4th sound is the silence after verbalizing. So every mantra becomes more powerful when it is said silently. So I just wanted to point that out, that the bija sounds for the chakras are all coming here, of course, from our alphabet, which is so cool.
Have you guys ever done a meditation or done the meditation with the chakra sounds, the Lam, Va, Ram? Have you ever done that?
Well, let's just feel them, because Terry, thanks for bringing that up. What's so beautiful about them is that they're so logical when you feel how they are pronounced in the body. So if we start with the la, L-A-M, the lam, and that's your root chakra. We'll say it several times over. Usually you say it about 7 times. So, and feel the pelvic floor lifting every time you say it. Lam, 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 lam. So you can just feel that little pelvic floor lift. It's like the diaphragm in our chest to help us to breathe. That's like a little diaphragm lifting. So then if we go to the next one for Svadhisthana, which is the va, the vam, then feel that and see if you can feel it in that abdominal region, the lower abdomen, to make that sound, the muscular action to make it. Vam, 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 vam. Can you feel that? Like it's right there in that lower abdomen area. And then for the solar plexus, manipura, ra. So feel that in your solar plexus. Ram, 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 ram. To me, this is just so interesting and so amazing. And then we'll go to Anahata, the yam. And I just think that the whole idea of yam is yummy. So the whole heart region is where the soul resides. And so yam, 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 yam.
The vibration in your heart, I just love it.
I do too, right? And then Vishuddha, sometimes it's called Vishuddhi. Swami Vishnu Devananda, my teacher, called it Vishuddhi, but here it's Vishuddha. And it doesn't matter which one you use, I don't think. It's ha, so the hum, 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 hum. So that makes total sense. In order to make even any vocal sounds, that breath has to move through the throat. Hum. So that's beautiful for that one. And then the third I, the om. And the om is kind of A-U-M. Om, 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 om. And in the crown, just takes it all in. So it's really quite remarkable to me how this resonates with us. The Sanskrit language just absolutely resonates with us. Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure I move my clock over, just so that I keep track of the time for us. So where I'd like to go next with this is just to explain a little bit of fun stuff. If you look at page 57 in your manual, it has some Sanskrit rules there. So it's just talking, I think that's the first one. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's on page 55. I apologize, page 55. And at the top, the rule. The first rule is that if you were going to basically write in Sanskrit, if you go to your vowel characters, and so, for example, for the word asana, you could just take the A right off the chart. You could take any of these off the chart, asana, just like that, and form a word with it. So I'll show you all of this in a moment. but I want to just go through these first few rules, and then we're going to switch to the whiteboard and play a bit with writing, okay? So at that point, Terry, I'll get you to switch to the whiteboard one. And hopefully it'll work. You'll have to allow annotation from me, but I'll be able to do that. So the first rule is these can stand alone. If that's what the word is, then it'll stand alone, and I'll show you that as we write it. And then the second rule is that you'll notice every one of the consonants ends in a or a, right? So in our language, in English, our consonants are quite different. There's K and G and L and M and P. So the consonants are not this consistent sound of ka, ka, ga, ga. They all end in a. Okay? So that's the starting point. So if your word like pranayama, they're all the A sound. It's a little easier to pick them off the board here. But this is where the next chart comes in. So if you go back to the chart that's beside your vowels, this is how we change the sounds, the contracted vowel forms. This is how we change the sounds in order to make it like, like Patanjali. It's not Patanjala, it's Patanjali. Or Svadhisthana, right? So how do you get the I in there? So that chart is like this little key code, and it's in your manual, and I highlighted my, so it's on page 55 in your manual. And so this is a key code to break how you change from the consonant sound of ah to other sounds. And so on the shared screen here, I've got that in color as well. So if you have a color printer, I would strongly encourage you to print these charts in color, and then it's really easy to pick out what changed it. So in this example of the contracted vowels, I used the letter ka, and I used it all the way through it, so you would be able to get the different sounds with the orange line there that's showing you how ka changed. So this is ka, ka, ki, ki, ku, ku, kri, 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 K, kai, ko, cow, cum, ka. And the very last one is no vowel sound, so it's just K, right? And so we see all of our vowels right there, how you change. And the example is just using ka, but we would use any letter and use exactly the same orange lines on any letter in order to change the sound. Okay? And so we can have some fun actually trying to write a few words.
You know what I might do is take a picture of this screen right now.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Screenshot so that they have this screenshot of.
Okay, and how about take the next one as well with the consonants, just so they've got all the chakra colors too.
Yeah, I sent the chakra colors, but this one here, because I did it in my book so that you guys kind of can see what I did in my book, in my manual. Oops. I highlighted the little lines.
Oh, okay.
Where these orange lines were added, I highlighted them. So at least you have an idea, because and you may not take to loving Sanskrit, and you may love it, but it's just when you start to learn to write with them, you'll know that this line under KA, that orange second line, changes the way it's pronounced completely.
Yep, exactly. So you never know, it might grab you, it might not, but it's And it's certainly not on any exam that we're giving you. When I did my exam in my advanced teacher training, we had to write in this script. So not the whole exam, but there was yoga sutras that we had to translate into the script, and it was quite an extensive exams. But this becomes like a code to me, a code that you can crack, and I just love it. So I want us to have a little opportunity to play with it, and so I think that those are the most important rules that we would look at today for the fun of it. And so what I'd like to do now is so you'll keep your charts like these in front of you, but when Terry switches the sharing to the whiteboard, then you won't be able to see them up here. You'll just see the whiteboard. So if you can
you're going to have to walk me through that. I've not done that, Muggs.
Okay, so at the bottom of your screen, it says change share or switch share or something, like where
share screen I have.
Okay, so click on that.
Yeah.
And then you should see the picture of a whiteboard. Oh wait, maybe I'm able. No,
Here it
I'm
is.
not.
I got it.
Okay, so click on the whiteboard.
There we go.
Okay, great. All right, cool. And then go to the top of the screen so your menu pops down. I think it's over on the right side. We might not see your menu. And it should say allow annotation. Well, let's see if it allows it. No, it's not allowing it. So under view options,
well, it says disable attendee annotation.
Okay, no, we don't want to disable it. Okay, I got annotate here, so I'm good to go here. Or you're good. Okay, so you leave your mouse alone.
All right.
I think it'll override me. Here we go. Okay, so this is where we can have a little bit of fun, and you will also be able to write on your screen as well. So you'll need to have your charts, and I'm going to have my little charts around for me. So if we take the word asana, A-S-A-N-A, and align. So I have a touch screen, so I can just write with my finger on it. If you don't have a touch screen, you'll have to write with that little pencil that's there. And so the word asana, this is where your diacritical marks become important. So the A with the line over it is, it's a diacritical mark, the line over it. And so many books don't have that in it, including my book that I wrote. I apologize, but that would be a tedious process. But that's what tells you which S it is, and which, is it a long I or a short I or anything. So, and it also tells you where the pronunciation is. So what an A with a line over it means is it's really A-A-S-A-N-A, right? Asana is held twice as long, right? So I'm just going to click the undo for my second word there. And now we'll write asana. So you would look on your alphabet, and it's your long A. So I would make the long A. So that's the short A, and the second line makes it a long A. And then we need the S. So there's no diacritical mark on this S, the SA, S-A. So we can just pick off your chart the regular S. So it's like sort of like that. And then the N, na, N-A, you've got 4 N-A's there, one on each row. So it's the bottom one because there's no diacritical mark on it. So this is asana. Okay, asana. And it tells you with that long A, asana, that it isn't asana. That would be a short A. Asana would be a line over the second E. It's asana, right? And so that's the Sanskrit pronunciation of asana. So if one of your teachers or some presenter says it asana, don't jump to the conclusion that they're wrong. It might be the language influencing. They're not saying it in the Sanskrit, but they might be saying it in their home language, like Hindi or whatever. So for example, I have a friend who lives in the Kulu Valley of the Himalayas. She's a beautiful, beautiful teacher. And her guru drops the A, the short A. So Shiva becomes Shiv for her. And so when she first came to present to us, we had never heard of Shiva as Shiv, right? But that's how they say it in their dialect. But in Sanskrit, you would always pronounce that final A, Shiva. Okay, so that's how you would spell asana. And so we also talked about the word Om. So I'm going to clear I'm just going to clear the whole thing.
I took a picture of it. I see. I took a picture of it because I see some confusion. I see.
Oh, you can see everybody's, right?
Yes, I can see everybody a little confused, but I took a picture of it so that I can save these and send them out so that
I'm just writing mine in my spare notebook.
Okay,
And
good.
I'm trying to write.
Okay, go ahead.
So before I undo it, what's our concern? Like, is it my terrible S that I wrote there?
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out the S. I'm good. Yep, I got it.
Okay, so it's the third S, and I could write it again, sort of like this, like that.
Okay.
That's a better one.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to clear my drawing. Okay, now we talked about Om as A-U-M. And so the this is a special character. Om is a special character. So that's the beginning of the sound. And then the remember how on your little chart of the contracted vowels, you put a little mark under the to turn it into an oo. And then this represents the line running across the top of the word, and that's the M right there, Om. So that's the combination of A, U, and M. That makes sense? As a special character, they drop certain parts off, but you can see the A letter is very similar to the oo as it is. So A and oo and the dot over makes it the M. And the little archway is just the line that runs across top of all the words. It's just representative of that. There's a lot of symbolism in Om, in that the top of what looks like a number 3, the top of it, the middle of it, and the bottom represent the 3 gunas, the 3 qualities of nature, kind of the harmony and balance, the sattva, the tamas, the inaction, inertia, and darkness, and the rajas, activity and passion. And then the arc where the dot is above it is kind of like enlightenment. And when we, or Maya, pardon me, it's like illusion, the Maya or illusion that we're separate from the divine. And the dot over represents enlightenment. And so when we reach enlightenment, we no longer are in the illusion of the 3 gunas. A lot of beautiful symbolism, because Om is the original sound in the Upanishads. It talks about Om is the word, so it's the first manifestation of the divine which has no form. So sound comes from that. Okay, so if we want to move on from here, I just want to give you a couple more samples of words that you would use and just sort of use that alphabet a bit there. So we can do another one. I'm just going to clear my drawing. And some common words that you might be using. Have you done any of the Yoga Sutras yet, Terry? No.
No, we just
in the
started.
beginning.
We're in our second week.
Okay, so you've done the anatomy and you've done.
We've done anatomy. Yep, we've done anatomy, and where's my schedule?
Meditation?
We've done anatomy. We did anatomy, and we're starting with. I need my schedule, Mug. Sorry.
Okay, it doesn't matter. That's okay. So it's okay. So all these words will probably be a little bit new, but let's take one that you would often say in a mantra, like Namaha. Okay. So
Namaha would be a good one because we've been doing mantra. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And
perfect. So that makes some sense there. So Namaha can also be written as Na Ma H dot under as well. Okay. Namaha, that sound. Namah. And so this is the only diacritical, there's no diacritical mark on the first one. So you would just pick those letters right off your chart. A regular na, a regular ma, and and then the ha, which is quite a nice character. See how?
Would you mind writing it? Is there any way you can write it under your second Namaha? Just because it kind of goes, it runs off my screen.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Let's try it again here.
Sorry.
Nope, that's okay. Namaha. Okay, so the N, the Ma, and the Ha is a pretty character. And then the line over top. Namaha.
Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And if it was like Nama, okay, well, I'll wait if you want to write yours out before I change it.
I also took a picture so that we have it. Yeah, Muggs, we've done 2 days of anatomy. We've done Kriyas, and we're on Sanskrit. This is our 4th day meeting.
Okay, super awesome. That's perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to clear that and do the other Na, Ma. So this would be like Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, right? So this is going to be your same Na, Ma, and remember we could write the with the the colon right there, right? That was your Visarga. That's Visarga. Okay. And I want to, there you go, got that?
Yeah. There's Na. I'm looking too as we're going. Ma.
Sure.
Okay. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
Ask your questions.
Yeah.
You need to. Okay, so now we'll do with the dot over like the chakra bija mantras. So Lam was the first one, L-A-M. So you take your first, the La, and then you put the dot over it, and that becomes Lam, Lam.
Do you see where she's getting the the lam?
Yes.
So that on your vowel chart is called the anuswara, and anuswara. So the colon for the sound was visarga, and it's on your vowel page at the just under the Devanagari alphabet on page 54, and the M dot under equals the M dot over, and that's your anuswara. It's just like a little shorthand because it's used so much rather than have to write. If I wanted to write this out fully, I will do that for you because that's a great example. So let's go at la, that's the la, and then you've got the ma, right, for the M, and then you'd put this little line there to take the A off. Otherwise that would be lama, right? So these are both correct, lam with the la and the dot over, or if you look on that page 30 or 55 with the sample ka, and how to change it, ka, ki, cuckoo. At the very bottom on the left, it has K without any vowel sound at all, and there's that little line that takes the vowel off. That's why that becomes lam instead of lama. But I've used actually the letter M, lama. So that's just a very useful little tool that is called the halanta. The halanta takes the vowel off the end of the word. So as I said, Shiva became Shiv for this person. You would use that halanta to take that A off at the end. You can only use it at the end of the word. You can't use it in the middle of a word. All right. So can I clear that one?
Whenever they're ready. I'm taking pictures as we go of them, so in case we have questions that we've got them.
Okay, great. All right. So, and I won't spend too much more time on it because we'll go more into pronunciation, but it's kind of fun now to get into some of the words where we need to change the vowel in it, right? And so if we looked at Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, right? So we need our diacritical marks, Gita. So it's a long I and a long A. So we have to start with the ga, the regular GA. That's the place to start. So you look on your chart where you've got the G. So that's the G, but how do we make the long I? And so to make a long I, we have to go and put that there. Oh, you know what I want to do? I think I can change the color of that. So let's see if I can change it and make it red. Okay. Am I right? A long I, or did I do the short I? Oh, I did the short I.
Be after? I think long looks like it'd be after.
It's after, so we'll just change that. That's easy. So I'm still in red. Okay. My messiness. So that's the G-I, and now we need to write ta. So I'll go back to my black here. And so ta, it's a regular ta. Like remember, we've got 4 ta sounds. We've got TA dot under, THA dot under, TA, and THA. So it's just a regular ta. So we're going to go up like this. And we need to make it a long A. So we add this additional line. Okay? Gita. And Gita means song. So the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan is like a god. So it's the song of God, Bhagavad Gita. So that's how you start to switch. So is this making sense?
Okay. Yep. Got it.
Okay. Any question, Jocelyn?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Okay. So if you want to take a picture, Terry, I'll
Yep,
eliminate that one.
got it.
Great. Okay, so if we take yoga, we should do yoga. Okay. Oh, I'm in red. Let me undo that. I'll change my color to black. Yoga, because that's a word you'll use a lot of. So you'd start with your ya. Okay. And now we have to turn it into an O. So you look at your O, and in order to do it, I'm going to make that red again. Yo. And then we go to the ga again, which we already did on Gita. Okay? So that's yoga. Oops, have I got that right? No, I'll tell you what else is wrong on it. If you look, if I need to make sure this line goes all the way across. So some of your letters, like ma and ba, are almost the same, except if the line goes all the way across it or not. So it's important about the upper line if there's a break in it. Okay?
Mugs, what changes it to the yo? I see the yo.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's, I'll just go back to red and I'll make it thicker. It's this.
Okay.
Okay, so if you look on page 55, and on the bottom row, the first letter is ko.
Oh, okay.
K-O, ko.
Okay, got it now. I'm like, where is the O? Where am I missing?
Yeah, I was, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's why we're doing it, so that you can actually begin to play with this.
O,
And
and then
so that becomes yoga.
got it now.
Excellent. So when let's see where we can go with that. When you're studying, I want to keep it simple.
We're getting ready to jump into the sutras.
Okay. So as you get into the sutra, so I'm going to clear this, clear my drawing. Okay, and I'll go back to black. So we have, what are some of the words that we would
What about
use?
sutra?
Yeah, it just gets
Sutra.
us into the combining. But what about yama? Yama will be easier.
Yep, there you
Okay.
go,
Oh, yeah,
yama.
this is nice and dark. Okay. So there's no diacritical marks on it. So you've got your ya and your ma. It's pretty easy that way. Yama.
You guys see where that came from?
Yeah.
And so the other one is niyama. That's the second of the 8 limbs, niyama. So I'm just going to clear this. And so we have niyama. So there's no diacritical marks on there. So you'll take your regular N. And now we have to turn it into a short I, niyama. So if you look at your contracted vowel chart, to do the short I, we have to do that line over the top. So we'll go to the red again, and we're going to go like this, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then we've got the ya and the ma. Niyama, yama. Yama and niyama. So yamas are sort of your 5 ethics to observe, like to tell you, abstain from, like don't lie, don't steal, don't hoard things. And so those are your ethical truths that you'll get into. And then niyamas are the things to observe, like cleanliness and contentment, and be disciplined in your practice, etc. So Terry will go over more of those with you. But now you're beginning to see how we would change the words, right?
Yes.
Or the letters in the words, which I think is really quite magical. Let's clear that again. So there are some nice words that I could do just a couple more of, and then I'll switch and we could actually try to write our names. Let's see, Jocelyn. So I think we should do one of the combined ones for you. So you said Satya, which is pretty easy. I think, did you say Satya or what did you say? Sutra.
Oh, no, I was saying
Sutra. Okay, so let's do Sutra. Okay. And so it's a regular S and it's a long U. Okay. And so when you write sutra, you're going to look at your regular S sound. So I write it a little differently. It's sort of like it's not the best there. I'm going to undo that one. Okay, I'm trying to make it a little, I like to write it this way. It works better for me. So, okay, now we have to turn it into a long U. And so if you go to your U's, the long U, and it's just where your curlies are, is you've got to go like that. Oops, I should have done it in red. Undo.
Oh.
For the long U.
Am I looking at the wrong one? So it should be the.
It's the first one on the second line.
I see it now. I see it. Yep. I was looking at
okay.
the other one. That's not the long one. I was looking at the short version.
You're allowed to correct me because I do make plenty of mistakes.
I was looking at the wrong one. So good.
Okay, now when you get into tra is a little bit of a special character. And what you're seeing here is you have a T and an R and an A, right? So it's not sutta. If it was sutta, this would be sutta. Mm-hmm. But you've got to get the R in there somewhere, because you can't pick the R from Ra in this case. So if you looked at page 56. There's different ways to deal with R. Okay, so under 5A, the consonant R combines in a peculiar way with other consonants. The only reason I'm doing this is because we ended up with this word here. So sutra is like the second one, like prana. So to turn it into an R, you would have a line like this. Okay, so if you look at just above the letter, the A and then the B on that, so it's 1, 2, 3, fourth down. If you were writing prana, I'll just write this here, and I hope that you can see it, but Terry, I'll send you a picture. So this is pa, and then na, right? And oh, it's a different na, it's the other one. So I'm gonna undo that one, because there's a different N that we're using in this case. It would be N dot under. Okay, so then we're doing this one. Right. And so to get the R on this is the R. That's like prana. So to get the R on the tra, that's where we have it, right? Mm-hmm. But they made it a little tidier character in this. I'm not sure if you can, it's a special character that they use. I don't know if you can see, because I can't see, but in my book, or maybe Terry, you could show it. I think usually all you get to see is the whiteboard. But right. They tidy it up. So I'm just gonna undo. If you want a picture of that, Terry, did you take one?
Yep, I'm doing it right now. Got it.
Okay, so I'm gonna undo here, all the way back. Okay, oops. Now go back. Oops, I better go back one more. Okay, so now I'll go back to black. And they just tidy it up a bit by shortening the T. And then this becomes the R. So that's sutra. So that red line tells you that there's an R there, sutra. Prana, I think I spelled prana wrong because I forgot to look at my diacritical marks with it. Did I do it right in the book? Yeah. So prana has a long A on it. So that's your P, that's your R, that's your long A. Oh, and the wrong, different N dot under. So that's prana. So R's are a little bit different. That's in the rule where the R follows the consonant P, right? So I'm going to clear this, and then we would do it differently if it was preceding the consonant, such as karma, which you have as an example in your book. Another very common word, karma. And is there, it's just karma. Okay. So with this is your ka, and this is your ma, and somewhere we got to get that R in there. And so it goes like this. It's like a little R right up there, karma. And that tells, with that little R over the M, it says that's going to come right before the ma. So karma. Okay.
Bugs, where are you getting that one from? That's in the rules on page 56.
Yeah, and it's under A, 5A.
Got it. I see it now.
Okay. So ours are a little bit confusing in this. So I don't want you to all of a sudden bail on Sanskrit. Because, I mean, they're really not all that bad once you get familiar with them. But the combining of letters is important to note like that because we often do the combination. There's not always a vowel between every consonant. So I'm going to clear this and just give you another simple example, and then we'll move on to writing your names. So if we did, be an easy one, number 5. All right, if we did Surya, well, that's another S one or R one, so let's not do that. I'll move back to black here.
What about, no, I'm not, I was thinking Kriya, but.
Kriya might be, well, let's do, it's so funny. I should just have a ton of these off the top of my head. So hold on and let me just take a peek here. Here's one. Keep it simple. Krishna. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So there's lots of diacritical marks in this one. Oops. I'm gonna undo this and write it differently so you can, because I've added in KR dot under I. We know that letter, and then S dot under is what I wanted to write, and then N dot under, and then A. Krishna. Okay.
So can you explain, so this was a sticking point for me and it was really tough to understand diacritical marks. Not everybody writes everything with diacritical marks, so it's really difficult sometimes to understand.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem if we don't, you know how hard it is when you're using Word and then you want to insert a symbol, right? So these all come under insert symbol to get the dot under. So anytime you want to write anything in a different language, but you can probably quite easily download, you can download the actual Sanskrit script as a font in your computer. And I'm sure you can download this. It would be called the transliteration, I believe, the transliteration of taking those scripts and writing them into this. So then you would be able to download a font like that to get the diacritical marks. And otherwise, you're switching back and forth into special characters.
Right.
To get the dot under the R, the dot under the S, the dot under the N, and that's why people just don't do it. So the care and attention taken to books like Sacred Sanskrit Words or Nikolai Bachman's to have those diacritical marks is pretty impressive. We can just tell it's quite a job to do.
One, too, that so that you guys may not feel so overwhelmed with all of this, and maybe you don't. I was very overwhelmed with all of this at first. That Sacred Sanskrit Words is phenomenal.
Yeah, it is really, because it's big enough that you can actually see the script. Oops, I dropped my book. So let's get back to Krishna, and I know I could have given you I'm going to give you another easier one after this so it doesn't seem quite so complicated, because Krishna's using quite a lot of, I'm going to get back to my K. Krishna. Okay, so you've got your ka, right? And so how do you get the RI? If you look at your chart, RI is a vowel. So you got to take, put, it's KRI. And so we're going to put this little line underneath here. Oh, I don't, it's much easier to do with my finger, right? So you can see on your chart, KRI, and it's a short I. It's the second row,
Yep.
Second one in, okay? All right, and then S dot under would be written like this. Oops, wait, go back to black. It's kind of like the P, and then you've got the line through, right? So that's in your three S's, that's S dot under. It's an SH sound. On your chart, on page 54, you write the first one with an accent and then the second one with SHA, but SHA is S dot under as well. So you could note that on there that that's S dot under. Okay, but there's no A following the S dot under. So this would be, if we finished writing it, and the N dot under is this one. This would be Krishna, but it isn't Krishna, right? It's Krishna. So this is under rule number 5, how we start blending the letters together. So if you look at your Sha, if you wanted to take the A off of it, remember when we wanted to add an extra A, we just would add a line to make it a long A. Well, let's just take this second line off. Oops, go forward. Okay, and now we don't have that A sound with the line, right? We don't have this anymore. We're going to take it off. And we're going to blend this into our na, okay? So this is this guy here, Krishna, is blended into the NA. So we just dropped the line down. We just didn't write that line down there. And that takes the A off. So these are called combined consonants. And you have some samples of them on page 57, or conjunct consonants, because they've got to blend in together. So for example, Satya is truth. Satya is truth. So if I wrote Satya, I'm going to have to combine the T and the YA, right, in order to write it. So if I want to write Satya, I don't know if he has it in this book just to follow through, but anyway, you would have that S, Sa, and then your Ta would blend into your Ya, Satya. So if I look at this guy here, this is my T right here. And I just dropped the line after the T. T would normally be written like this, right? And I just took that line off and blended it with the Ya. And that makes it Satya, or Tya.
Or otherwise it would have been Satya.
Exactly, exactly. So, if you want to take a picture of that,
yep,
I'll just write this out, T-Y-A, so you know what that was, Tya. Okay, so let's write our names. So I'm going to undo, or I'm going to clear this. And then we begin to play. The one thing about writing your names is that you have to pay attention to what the Sanskrit sound is, not how it's written in English. So Anna, right? Is it? Oh, it's Anne, right? A-N, A-N-N-E.
Yes.
So if we were saying this in Sanskrit, it would be Ani. Oh, E is always a An, nay, nay. So we're not gonna write that nay because that's not your name. Nay. It's an, right? So so do you say it as an, not on, right? On.
An.
It's
Mhm.
an. Right. So then an would be this E sound, an. And then your N, right? And then we've got to take the A off the end of it. So this is like N, right? N. A, I, A. No, maybe that's not right. An, E, E, U, I think you would, I sing my own to find the best. Okay, well, let's try it with that. I'm just going to do it with the and, okay, as a short A, okay, and then the N, and we just have to take the A off, and I think that would be fair to say, because it's not A, it's not ain, it's an. So I think that
I like that one better.
I like it better too. I like it better too.
I'm going to throw a ringer in the system and say, okay, why wouldn't you call it Anna?
We could do
Anna. It's Ann. It's not Anna, but
we
when
could
you
do
say Ann, it's Ann.
So we could do N going into another N. So that would be a double N. N.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense, Terry? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, well, that was what I was asking, but then also the na, Anna.
But it's not Anna, it's Ann.
Okay, got it. It just sounds like when you say Ann, I was just thinking of the na at the end of the writing, Ann, but it's not.
Well, I don't think it's any different than Brahman.
Got it.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah,
got
so
it.
you're just dropping the vowel off, and it's the only way to end that consonant.
Okay, that makes sense to me now.
No, but that's a good question because we had two N's there, so it's almost like a double N, right? It's not An, it's An.
I took a picture of it for you, Ann.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, so Jocelyn's going to be a little different.
Yeah,
All
well,
right. Okay, so this is that spelled correctly?
yes.
Okay, and so if we wrote it out phonetically, it would be jaw, sa, and lin. Jocelyn, is that right? Jocelyn?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is one of the key things that I always find interesting to find your way of writing Sanskrit. We need to look at how it's pronounced phonetically.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll take the ja, the J-A. Okay. And then sa, it's a regular sa. Sorry for my, I'll take that off there, tidy it up a bit. Okay, jaw, sa. Now, Jocelyn. Jocelyn. So it would be turning it into an E there. Jocelyn, I think. Okay, Jocelyn. Does that make sense? So it would just be adding this line there. And L now has to blend with Lyn, Jocelyn. So that's a real combined character. We're going to end up making that one up. So this is your
Always
la.
complicated.
When all else fails, you make it up. No. Be cautious with that.
Yeah.
Some.
So Lyn, we could look for that online, probably in combined consonants. I don't have one here in the book here. Lyn, lin, because it's not la ya na. Oh, and you got to take that off there.
Yeah.
Jocelyn. And I think it's just a regular and na, Jocelyn. Yeah, seems like it to me. So that's kind of interesting. That's the trickiness of trying to write our English words in Sanskrit, because we don't have the same names, right? Like names like Parvati or Lakshmi or whatever. We have different names. So I can look. This is the Lyn right there. I can look online or in my Sanskrit books and see if there's an Lyn. I've got a lot of different Sanskrit.
So interestingly enough, you are pretty damn close.
Oh, did you find it online?
Yeah. So this is, I found it in Sanskrit translations.
Oh, good. Okay.
So
Which is Sanskrit translations? Okay. Oh, look at that. Can you hold it up again? It bounced.
yeah, well, and I'm trying to get, so as long as I'm talking, you'll see it. But yeah, that is just
I
pretty
see.
doggone close.
Look at, that's what we did wrong, is we didn't turn the LA. Hang on, hold it one more time.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, why didn't we do the turn the line to the?
Now let's see if this, oops, I almost dropped my phone. See if that works. So that's the Hindu translation for Jocelyn.
Okay.
Do you
So
see
let's
what we did?
undo. Yeah, Jocelyn, good for you for thinking of that. So, okay, I'm just gonna have to, it's gonna take a while to, there we go. So we're gonna turn that la into an I. And was it which side is it on, Terry? Is it
It
the
is.
short?
So right here, turn around and look.
It'll be before it, I think.
Yeah, it's a short I. Okay, there we go. Li, and then, and it was a regular N, right?
It was, yep, here you go, just like this.
He didn't take the last A off, interestingly, but close enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you send us the link for that? That's an app on your phone, is it?
It's just, I pulled up and it's Sanskrit translations. I don't know.
Okay, well, just send us the link. That's really cool for people being able to find their names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that Lin, turning the la. That's, you know, I was flipped back. It's just like Terry said, you've always got to look at the phonetics for it. So super cool. Okay.
I'll stick the link out there.
Great, awesome. Sanskrit translations, great. So can I clear this, or do you want to take a picture?
Hold on, I'll take a picture so that we have it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Anybody need a little break here before we go into some pronunciation?
Yeah, I need to move around for a bit.
Okay, so Terry, you can take the whiteboard off.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you know, this is the one thing, oops, I didn't.
There, I like that. No, that's great.
This is the one thing we do run into. We, you know, we get up and have to move, and it's nice. We've been trying to squeeze in 20 to 30 minutes here and there of some.
Sure. Do you want to just pause the recording for a sec and then?
Yes, ma'am, will do. Got it.
So one of the things, we'll just spend a little bit of time here with some pronunciation. So I have 205. Okay, that's good. Of some keywords that you're going to normally use, like asanas, etc., in different directions. And one of the things that is with those diacritical marks for sure is when you have the S's, because we don't really know how to say the S's. So I'm going to make a list for myself just of what's the diacritical marks on the S's so that I know I'm saying them correctly. So we can go through the 8 limbs of yoga, and again, I'm using for this Nikolai Bachman's book because he has so much valuable information in it. So this is like our 8 limbs of yoga, yama, niyama. So you don't have those there. I think in your manual though.
Page 58 has a whole page of Sanskrit
Yep.
terms.
That's what I was looking through.
So we can look at some of those here as well. And maybe what we'll have to do is, here we are, page 58. When we get to those S's, we might just have to look up really what is it so that we know we're saying it correctly as best we can. So why don't we start at that? So on the top of page 58, adho. So DH is aspirated, adho, right? And most of the time, we're not going to go into our yoga classes and change it all and say, instead of adho mukha, adho. But, you know, if you want to, like I switched once I learned this, I always said hatha yoga, but it's hatha yoga, right? Mm-hmm. So it has that THA. So adho is downward. So adho mukha vriksasana. So vriksasana, we'd want to know what is that S for the VRK, right? So that's, I'm just going to look it up in
Language of.
Yeah, so it's an S dot under. Okay, so that's an SH sound, vrikshasana, right?
So it's vrikshasana.
Yeah, vrikshasana, but the S dot under is the one closer to the front of the mouth. Yeah, vrikshasana. Okay.
Vrikshasana. Okay.
Yeah. Ananda. Ananda, right? All A's, Ananda. We could have written that one out quite nicely, the N blending into the D, Ananda. So that's bliss. What we don't know without the diacritical mark is it a long A anywhere in Ananda. Because in my book here, it shows it's a long A, Ananda, right? So not that I'm going to get you to put all the diacritical marks on there, but that's another reason why.
But you know what? I would find, I think for me, going forward, I'm going to take this book and put my diacritical marks in this page 58 so that it's.
Absolutely. You know what? That's a great idea to do it, because then you really have them, right? And if we looked in, you would probably use your book from the language of yoga as well, because he has all these asana names like adho, right?
Right.
Adho. And it's just a regular DH. It's not the DH dot under. So we know that the diacritical marks are there, right?
Okay.
Okay. Ananta, the eternal one, the serpent couch of Lord Vishnu. I would not be surprised if it was a long A, but I don't know. And I would, oh no, it's not. It's a regular A, because here it is in our sacred Sanskrit word. So that's really nice. Ananta. Anga, limb. So Ashtanga yoga. If you were saying Ashtanga, that it's Ashta and Anga. And when you blend the two together, it becomes a double A, right? Ashta, Anga. So Ashtanga is going to have a long A in there, Ashtanga. So, but this is Anga. So Anga, we don't know if Anga is a long A or a short A, but Anga.
Well, when you look at Ashtanga,
Okay, yeah. So, but that's ashta and anga together, blend, becoming ashtanga.
Got it.
So what I'm not sure of is anga by itself, and maybe I can find it. It's probably.
Well, in here it does say, look at the anga at the
Oh, good. Does it? What page?
page 39 in Sacred Sanskrit Words. It says stages, which is anga. So it's the
Okay,
long
yep.
A.
There you go. So you've got it as a long A.
A, diacritical mark over the N, anga.
Yep. That's perfect. Yep. And arda is half. Arda is half. A-R-D-H-A. So that's a word you're going to want to know.
Arda.
Arda, because it's like, your half lotus or your half chair pose or your half standing forward bend, right? Arda Uttanasana, Arda Utkatasana,
Right.
Arda Padmasana, half lotus. So
Arda
Arda,
Shavasana.
yeah, that's one you really want to know because it's a descriptive word for many poses. Yeah, Arda Chandrasana, half moon pose, right? So once you start to know some of these descriptive words, I would put a highlight your Arda because that's one that you will use a lot. And then asana, we know asana starts with a long A, asana, because we already looked at that and wrote it out. So ashta is 8, right? Ashtanga, the 8 limbs of yoga. So ashta is 8. And those 8 limbs, we mentioned 3 of them already, yama, niyama, and asana, right? Yama, niyama, and asana. And the only one that has a long A there is asana. And that's in when you study Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, you'll learn these 8 limbs. And then you've got pranayama. Pranayama is your practice. Pranayama. Pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Those aren't necessarily on that sheet there because this sheet is about different words. But
we'll talk about those when we jump into the sutras.
Yeah. And so we think of Ashtanga yoga as Patabi Joyce's yoga, right? The sequences of Ashtanga. But Ashtanga is originally referred to long before Christ's time as the 8 limbs of yoga. So Ashta is 8, Anga is limbs, and Patabi Joyce took the word Ashtanga and coined his yoga under Ashtanga. So when you hear Ashtanga yoga, there's 2 Ashtanga yogas, Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga and Patabi Joyce's. Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra is the name of a sage. So there's lots of sages that have passed the knowledge of yoga down to us. And in all the mythology of yoga, they have Goraksha and Marichi and Savitri, and Ashtavakra is one. So Bada, B-A-D-D-H-A, Bada means bound, like your bound lotus would be. You sit in the lotus position, cross your arms behind your back and grab your toes. It's all bound, right? Those are closing circuits in the body. Or Supta Baddha Konasana, lying down on your back in your cross-legged position and grabbing your feet. Supta Baddha Konasana. Supta is supine, or lying on your back. Baka is a crane, a bird. Bandha is, I don't know why it's called formation there. Bandha is like a lock or a, yeah, so like Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha, which you learned in your Kriyas, your Uddiyana Bandha for sure. And Beka is a frog. Manduka is also a frog, right? Yeah. And Bhuja is where Bhujangasana comes from. Bhuj and Anga. So cobra is the pose, Bhujangasana. So a cobra doesn't have arms. It's more like the trunk of an elephant. But it's like a serpent. Bhuja is like a serpent. And then Bhujanga Asana. Chatur is the number 4, Chatur. So that's where Chaturanga comes, right? When you go into Chaturanga pose, it's 4 limbs, 4 branches. The 8 limbs is Ashtanga. So Chaturanga is your 4 limbs. Chatuspadasana. Chatuspadasana. So pada is feet, and chatus comes from chatur. So chatuspadasana is your 4-footed pose, and that's the plank pose. So chaturanga is where you've bent the elbows and gone really down to the floor, but chatuspadasana is the plank. Chandra is the moon, and that you'll use a lot, right? Like Chandra is the lunar side, the cooling side, the Ida side, the left side of the body, whereas Surya is the sun side, the warming side. So Chandra is often. Dvi is 2, DVI. Dvi is the number 2. So
and it's pronounced Dvi.
Dvi, yeah, with the I, right? Because I is always E. Dvi. Dvi Padapidam. So Dvi Padapidam is 2-footed. I forget what Pidam is. It's a name for the bridge pose. Surprisingly, I had never heard it as Setu Bandhasana. I first learned it as Dvi Padapidam. And Pidam is another word for posture. So 2-leg posture is your bridge. But if you're going to call it Setu Bandhasana, I think Setu is a bridge, right? I think Setu is a bridge. You could look that up, but I'm pretty sure.
Setu, yes, it is. It's on this page.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. There you go.
And Bandha then formation. So bridge formation is where that Bandha might have come from there. But
right. But
Bandha,
it's
the only time I use Bandha, the only time I use Bandha is in that lock. Jalandhara Bandha.
As a
Mula
lock.
Bandha,
Exactly.
Uddiyana Bandha.
Yeah, so you can see between Dvi Padapidam and Setu Bandhasana that it depends what people want to call an asana. What are they referring to, right? And that's where we get the different names. So, for example, Eka Pada. Eka is 1, Pada is foot. So 1-footed, whatever you want to call it, right? If you look up which one is it? The second word on the list, Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. It's a downward facing tree, which is a handstand, right? That's from the lineage of Mr. Iyengar's. Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. But a handstand could be hasta, right? Hasta is hands. So a handstand could have a very different name in another lineage. It just depends if they're calling it, hasta something. So you'll find various names depending how they're describing it. If we go back to Chatuspadasana, the plank pose, 4-foot pose, so you've got 2 hands and 2 feet. Some call it Palakasana, which is like a board, right?
Board.
The plank of a board. So it's translated it from being a plank to the board, palak, versus four-footed. And that's how these names vary. Okay, back down, I got danda. A danda is a stick. So dandasana is stick pose, right? You're sitting very firmly, solid, like a stick. So dandasana is a stick pose or a staff, like the staff of a shepherd. Dhanura, the bow. Dhanur asana is the bow posture, because Dhanura is the bow, like Arjuna's bow or Rama's bow and arrows. So Dhanura is asana, Dhanurasana. So you can see a lot of these, like Dhanura ends in an A and asana starts in an A, and that's where it becomes two A's, which make a long A, right? So all of these become a long A with the asana, where they end in an A like that. Eka is one, Garuda is the eagle. Garuda, then asana becomes a long A in Garudasana.
And I was taught first off that eagle pose was Jaryudasana.
No.
I know. So yeah, it's Garuda.
That's right. I remember that when we first talked about it. Yeah.
I would call it Jaryudasana, and she'd look at me like, "What in the hell are you talking about?"
But I make mistakes too. But you know, it's wonderful
it's
to
what we hear, and when we walk into a studio and you take a class, and if it's that might be your first time hearing that asana, it sticks.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's hard to break it.
And I feel so grateful. Oh, I wanted to show you a picture. Let me get it, and then I'll ask Terry to share the screen. I just gotta call it up here. Okay, if you want to share the screen, Terry.
Yeah.
This is on the screen is me when I was studying Sanskrit with the scholar. So let's see.
You've got the ability to share.
Oh, do I? Okay, awesome. Let me go back up.
Gave you, yeah.
All right, I got to find it here. Make that smaller. Get back to my Zoom.
Let me stop share, because that way then you can.
Okay, so I want to make sure I got it on here. One sec.
Yeah, don't send us any
Sanskrit chart. Well, I just got the Sanskrit chart there. That's good. Okay, here we go. And share screen. Share. And there you can see me with the Sanskrit scholar. That was writing away, studying. I really, really enjoyed him. His name was Gari Shankar. And so that was in 1978. Okay.
All right.
You look like you're 12.
So young.
Okay, back to work here.
I love the picture of you in your book with Hari.
Oh yeah, that's such a.
And it's just like you look like you're 12 years old when you get into that book. By the way, speaking of Hari, really, really quickly, these are the first two ladies that I have ever met that do not eat chocolate.
Oh, yeah. Well, then you know what?
I do, just not regularly.
There you go. But you can put it on your altar, and it'll become. Oh, it can become very, very sacred, and because it won't get eaten every day, right? It'll get all the vibrations of your meditation.
My kids will eat it every day.
There you go. Yeah, the kids will get it. All right. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I had to share that.
Okay, we'll just say a few more. And do you have a session after this, or do you close, Terry?
Nope. Right after this, we close. So you.
Okay.
Yeah, is it possible to have you that long and close with us and sing your beautiful voice, because they're exposed to this.
Oh,
And
you're
it's
the
not
best.
It's not that bad.
We're working on it.
I also
have a
have an
great
untrained voice, so it's not fantastic either.
I know that Bob is waiting for me with food, so
Okay.
if we want to, we can do it. I'll just wrap up 5 minutes early and say a chant, and then you can.
That would
carry
be
on.
beautiful. Yes, we'd love that.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so I'm gonna just speed ahead, and Terry can spend some more time with you, but just some regular words we'll use there. You've got
I think a tough one is Jatara.
Jatara, exactly, Jatara, which is Jatara Parivartanasana is when you're lying on your back and you twist your knees over to the side or leg over to the side.
Oh,
Jatara is
Big twist.
stomach.
JP twist. That's it. There's
J-
the reason for
very-
it. Nobody wants to call it Jatara.
Oh.
Ah.
And I'm just going to look at this and see what kind of TH that is on here. So
And it's Jatara Pari.
Parivar, like Parivrita, Trikonasana is revolved triangle, right? So
Yep.
Parivar.
It's up at the top of the page in the second list,
Yeah.
Parivartana. So Jatara Parivartanasana.
Yeah, and the
That's
T,
JP.
the TH has a dot under it, so you put your tongue up in that palate. Jatara Parivartanasana. Jatara. Kapota is a pigeon. You'll get that a lot. Kumbhaka is your breath retention. And it means an earthen pot, like a pottery pot. It's that's like you're holding the air in that pot. Your chest becomes a pot of air. Kumbhaka. Matsyendrasana is half, or Ardha Matsyendrasana is half Lord of the Fishes, which is your seated spinal twist. And so the Lord of the Fishes was Matsyendra. And so the pose, that spinal twist, was named after him, Matsyendrasana. Just like Matsyasana is the fish pose. Matsya is, again, a fish. So Matsyendra is the Lord of the Fishes. And Matsya is fish. Namaskar is the mudra, right? Namaskar mudra, which is representing namaste. Namaste is the divine in me greets the divine in you. It's like namaha. All of them are sacred, like I bow to thee. I bow to the divine in you. Or the divine in me bows to the divine in you. Surya Namaskar, your sun salutation. You are bowing to the divine as you move through the sun salute, right? It's beautifully named. Surya is the sun, light. And so when you do Surya Namaskar or the sun salutation, you are saying a prayer to the light, and it's the divine light within you and the divine light outside of us, the sun. And all of those wise teachers who have shed the light of wisdom for us. So Surya Namaskar is a really powerfully packed name of vinyasa or flow. So it just doesn't mean get up and do it in the morning. So I love how Dr. Ananda refers to all of the yoga poses that when you're doing them, the tree, Vrikshasana, or the eagle, Garudasana, do it as if you are that eagle. Literally become the pose. Embody the name, the cat pose. it's slipped my mind right now.
Majarasana.
Majarasana, thank you. To be that cat and feel like you're a cat and pace like a cat. And so embody the pose when you're doing it, and it'll shift the energy of what it is that you're doing. So he really feels that they're given a name for a reason, whether it's the name of a sage or the name of an animal, right? Be that cobra as you curve up the spine. Navasana is the boat pose. Navasana, so Nava, now N-A-U is a boat. What does he say in here? Sometimes words change in it. So, for example, there's not a lot of asanas that start with an N or K or L, and then there's tons that start with other ones. Oh, he doesn't even have it in this book. But for example, Parshva, when we get over in the next column, P-R-S-H-V-A, Parshva, Parshva means sideways. Okay, so Parshva Konasana, side angle pose, Kona is angle. And so side angle pose is, I don't know if I stand up and you can see
Extended
it.
side angle is the Utthita Parshva. Yeah.
So then it can become Parshvottanasana. Parshvottanasana is a different pose. It's, what do you call it again? Pyramid pose, Terry, right? Pyramid pose. So Parshvo, so the A changed to an O, Parshvo.
So Parshvo, though, when you are in, okay, it's still sideways. Parshva and Parshvo are both the same.
They both are side. So Parshva Konasana is your side angle, which you could come into from or go into a triangle from it. But Parshvottanasana is the combination of Parshva and Uttanasana. So what pose is Uttanasana?
Lifting.
Uttanasana is your standing forward bend.
Yeah.
Right? And it means stretched out pose. Uttana is stretched out. We don't call it that in the Shivananda system. We call it Parahastasana, hands and feet pose, right? So Hasta's hands, Para's feet. So when you do a standing forward bend, you're bringing your hands to your feet. But Uttanasana is what it's called in the Iyengar system, a stretched out pose. So when you do that pyramid pose where you're standing and you step one foot back and one is forward and you fold over it, it's still a stretched out pose, but it's sideways. It's really not a side bend though. So don't get confused in it being a side bend. It's like one side. It almost should be Eka Parshvottanasana in my mind, because one leg is getting stretched, but it's not. It's just called
We'll go through a lot of these when we do our asanas and get into our asana practices.
Exactly. So another word there is Purna, under P, Purna. Purna means full. So that is spelled P-U-R-N-A, but really it would be P-O-O-R-N-A if we were writing it like from the Sanskrit, Purna, a double O, a long O. And so Purna is full. So any full posture you're doing, like the full lotus, could be Purna Padmasana, right? You're doing the full lotus or the full twist, or whatever, you can add that on there.
And sadly enough, I don't often use Purna in a full. It's just, it is what the pose is, I guess.
Right, exactly. And that's okay. That's great. Okay, so just a couple here. So Shavasana is your corpse pose, right? That's the relaxation pose. So it is the pose, Shavasana. And it's actually an S with a angled accent over it.
And so write it as S-A, Vasana.
With that angle accent on it.
Right,
Yeah.
but always know it's always Sha, not Savasana.
That's right. And it's not Savasana. Shirsasana as well for your headstand, right? Shir, it's S-I-R. So let's find where he's got it.
With S-I-R, and in here it's S-H-I-R. So without
Because
a critical mark on it, there's
you don't know which one
no
it is.
say it. It's
And
S-H.
That's correct. So I'll need to look up what is the diacritical mark.
I guess what I'm trying to say to you guys, when you see the three in there, Shava is corpse, Shavasana is corpse pose, and Shirsa is head. Those
Yeah, so
are typically
it's
written S-A.
yeah, so it's an S with an acute accent, and then the second S has the dot under, Shirsha. So they're both SH sounds, Shirsha. In that particular case, Shirsha. And I just want to point out to remember the differences between Shavasana and the dog pose. Shvanasana. Shvanasana is the dog, so it's also an SH. And I got to look under Adho because this guy always Shvan. So it's an S with the acute accent again. So Shvan Asana. Shvan Asana is the dog, and Shavasana is the corpse. Okay. And another word in this list that you can often use, upavishta. Upavishta means seated. So any seated pose, like upavishta konasana, is when you're seated and your feet are wide out apart. Upavishta means to be seated. I'll just look what that S is. So that S, upavishta, that S is S dot under in that one. Okay, and I'm just going to do two V's. The tree, vrikshasana, is an S dot under. Vriksha is the very last word in your list, vrikshasana. And Vasishtasana, is a little bit above that. That's the name of a sage. And the first S, Vas, is a normal one. And then the second one is S dot under. Vasishtasana, Vasishta. So there's lots to think about with the S's, but if we know they have a diacritical mark, we know they have an SH sound, and that's for the most part of us English speakers. Now, I'm just going to grab my manual and we'll turn to a chant and we'll sing the Guru chants together.
One of these things will come so much easier the more we use them in poses. I know I lost a lot of my Sanskrit a long time ago, and it is embedded in my brain now. And if I fail to use my Sanskrit, somebody can kind of, but I use Sanskrit now all the time, and it helps so much to use it all the time. Don't learn it and walk away from it and forget it, because it's so important and it's such a beautiful, beautiful language. Stay with it. I think that we in studios here tend to not use it as much because people don't understand it. And if we use it and then give the English version of it, then our students will start to pick up on it and know exactly what it is.
And when you do study with someone like Dr. Ananda, David Frawley, you know, some of the great teachers that we have today, they're going to use their Sanskrit because that's the words for it.
Their language, it is what it is.
Yeah, so once you get a little familiar with the terminology of it, it's you can engage in a real conversation with some of these amazing teachers we have. Okay, so if you turn to page 30, and I did use the word Purna as well. Anyway, under the first chant, the Shanti or peace mantras, the last 4 lines in there are Om Purnamada Purnamidam, Purnad Purnamadachate, Purnasaya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. And so what I want to say here is there's that Vasishta sage there at the very last. That's really nice to see that. So this is a very, very sacred chant, this Om Purnamada. And what it's saying is Om, that is full, this is full. From the full, this full is removed, and the full remains always full. And what it means is from the source, from the divine, you can take in as much wisdom as you want, and it'll always remain full. The divine, the source of the wisdom, will always remain full. In our realms, it's the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the realm of wisdom. And so it's usually said after a session of learning. And so this was a session of learning together. So I'll sing it through, and then we could just sing a line of it together. And
we did this one the other day, so they will get to hear the way. Yeah, we did do this one the other day, so this is beautiful.
Wonderful. Okay, so Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Okay, we can say that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam.
What page are you on? Hold on.
30. On page, am I in the right manual? 200 hour, yeah.
Yeah, page 30.
Yeah, and it's the
I see
last.
it now. Sorry.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Jen.
Okay, second line. Purnad Purnamudachyate. Purnad Purnamudachyate. Purnasaya Purnamadaya. Okay. Purnasaya Purnamadaya. Purnameva Vasishyate. Purnameva Vasishyate. Okay, so then all together. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasaya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate.
Yeah.
So we have acknowledged that we can receive as much wisdom, and the source will always still remain full. All right. Well, it is on my clock here 4:45. It must be on yours too. So
yep.
I'll let you close your day. And I thank you very, very much for partaking in my passion for Sanskrit, and hopefully it sparked something in you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great.
Thank you.
Later, Mugs. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye. I'll get this recording to you later.